All right, we are live and we are in the flesh with the Tampa Pro champ, Nicholas Walker. First off, congratulations. Congratulations to Prob and Nick for getting the job done this weekend. Arguably Nick's all-time best look and honestly, a perfect score. Wasn't very close, and everyone in the close circle knew what Nick was bringing, knew it was going to be very special, and I got to witness it firsthand, and it was pretty damn cool. So obviously, a lot has led up into this, and I know you guys want to hear some cool stuff. So, Nick, I'm sure you've been biting your tongue for the last 8 weeks. I'm just going to give you the floor for as long as you want to say whatever it is that you want to say. And we'll just go from there. And Prob, you're more than welcome to do so after.
And if anybody doesn't know, Nick got a boner at the show when he ate the cookies. So now I'll let Nick go.
Yeah, cured by cookies, red velvet, cheesecake, strawberry filling type shit. Phenomenal cookie. But yeah, I mean, look, it was a great prep. I mean, it was very smooth. It was very easy. Prob came to my house at like 4 weeks out. We literally just sat on the couch all day, trained, posed, deconstructed diet wise. Like, it was definitely one of the smoothest preps I ever had, and it was cool too because like he just simplified everything. Like, he took out anything that was artificial sweeteners for me. Like, he made things all like pretty much all natural, and I just could totally feel the difference, obviously in my body and my gut, and the way things just started to get smoother and smoother by the day. And I think wholeheartedly that played a big role in how that transpired to look on stage. So that was really good. And the better I felt with that stomach control going into the show, the more confident I just got day by day by day.
1 minute, Nick. 1 minute, Nick. Is he breaking up for you as well, Andy, or no?
He is a little bit. But I will say Riverside is really good with that. So, like, once it actually exports, it should be fine.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're good. Cool. You're good, Nick.
Yeah.
So, but obviously, outside the prep, I mean, like, yeah, some shit talkers that, thought they could speak all their shit and show up to the stage not looking too shabby. And you can't call me out and talk shit and show up looking like that. That's not how this is gonna work, And if I have anything to say about that, just don't talk shit. Don't ever talk shit, And I think when it came to Joe, for me personally, I think the one comment that stood out that I did not like, and I also thought was pretty disrespectful, was the comment he made, pretty much saying that I'm everything they want Nick to be.
We lost Andy.
Bro, thank God.
I didn't leave.
Bro, that's honestly so
Nick,
smart.
I told Nick to get on the Wi-Fi too.
Bro, that's never happened. I'm literally just talking. PC shuts off, microphone, headphones, just boom. I was like, did the power fucking go out?
Much better. Much better. Now I can see you clearly. Now you look handsome.
Who, me?
Yeah. Now I can see you. But yeah, you would keep going on now, Nick. I know you were talking before we cut out. You were going into kind of the stuff that was said that you found disrespectful.
Oh yeah. So for me, I just think one of the comments that Joe made, that I found a little disrespectful toward me was basically the one where he said, and I don't know if the exact words, but on the lines of, "I'm everything that they wanted Nick to be," and I just found that to be very disrespectful. Um, and so for me, hearing that shit, I just had to make sure that not only did I beat Joe, but I would fucking annihilate Joe. And that's exactly what I did, And I don't like that he thought he had more motivation than me, because I don't have a kid. You're right. I don't have a kid, but I have a fucking family that does everything they could possibly do for me. And that's all the motivation I need to win every show I need to win. So you don't know my life. You don't know anything about my life. So let's just stick to bodybuilding and not make shit so personal.
100%. And that's my main thing, right? And from my perspective, um, I can also tell, it did motivate you. Not that you needed any extra motivation, but I'm going to be real. As a coach myself, it motivated me. Hearing somebody talk about my athlete consistently over and over again, throughout the weeks, podcast after podcast, it doesn't necessarily get under my skin, but it's like you're giving me the opportunity now to really, really want to nail this peak. I will go live there for 12 weeks if I have to. I don't care what I have to do to ensure it's nailed, because I had talked to Andy about this, in private, and it's one of those things of, if you're taking a shot at my guy, you're taking a shot at me at the same time. And the thing with me is, it's one of those things, like you said, I'm okay with somebody saying they're going to go win a show. Nobody should say they're going to lose. You should be confident that you're going to win. You should fully say that I'm going to win this show. I believe in my ability. I trained really hard. I built the muscle. That's all cool. If Joe had just said he's going to win the show, hey, no issues at all. You should believe in yourself, and you should believe in your support system, as you do, Nick, as, probably Charles does, as James probably does. Nobody comes to lose. I think it's more so when the conversation gets steered outside of bodybuilding. And, that's where, for me, it's a little bit muddy, because it's like, we're not diving into anybody else's life. We're not doing any of that. If you want to talk strictly bodybuilding, winning shows, going to the Olympia, competing at a high level, then let's talk about that. I just don't like the extras.
I agree.
Because even from our point of view, right? Like, from my point of view, it's one of those things of going into a show, that is so talked about now. And it's such a, show that everybody's watching and has on their calendar that they're marking off. Nick made one comment the whole time. And Nick's comment wasn't about anybody specifically. Nick's comment was about the totality of the field of everybody in that show. It wasn't, I'm going after this one person. And that's one thing I didn't like, is it felt like Joe just kept taking digs at only Nick, rather than making it about, there's other good guys in the show. James is phenomenal. Charles is an Olympian. Ken's a great bodybuilder. There's guys in that lineup that are also good bodybuilders. So when it kept being about Nick over and over again, that's why, from my point of view, is Nick talked about the broad spectrum, and then, Joe's making it about him versus Nick only.
Well, I'll chime in on this as well. Not only do I agree with what you guys said, also, man, these podcasts, I understand getting stuff for clicks, but bodybuilding is painted in such a negative light. Like, look, I get trying to hype up the next guy. I get trying to hype up the show, making the comparisons, but like, all these accounts, I call out every single one of these podcasts because they're asking Joe these questions. Why are you going to be Nick? Why are you better than Nick? And like, you said, Prob, we don't expect Joe to go on there and say he's going to lose or he's coming to place second it, but it's like when they're poking and prodding at Joe, it seems like they're trying to get a controversial answer. They're trying to get those clicks. It's just, I think bodybuilding needs to be a little bit more positive, man. Talk about all the guys. Talk about Charles coming back. Talk about James, having a new coach and coming back. Why is everything just instantly negative, especially with you, Prob, and with Nick? Like, oh, who's this Prob guy? What's he done? Who's he coached? It's like, why does the bodybuilding media have an open mind?
But that's also okay. I don't mind that. If they wanted to talk about me specifically and they want to talk about my accolades, achievements, that's totally okay. I've never coached an open guy. So, there is going to be some doubt. That's why I haven't jumped on a podcast in 8 weeks to talk about anything about bodybuilding. My thing is this, man. If I'm going to pull up to a show, I'm going to earn my stripes. I don't need anybody to give me flowers before I proved anything. That's why, for me, it was very important to go to this show and nail the look. And now, even the same thing for me. The job's not finished. Yeah, we nailed one look. 8 weeks' time, we got to nail another look. And it has to be even better. And that is our only objective on our mind. So that's why I don't mind the negativity. If you want to talk about me, my thing is, Nick is a top 5 Olympian. Nick is a Arnold Classic winner. Nick is a 3-time New York Pro champ. we need to be more realistic with the comparisons. And I'm okay with people even comparing, but don't, my thing I don't like is I feel like they don't give credit where it's due on what he's already accomplished. Like, this is a perennial bodybuilder. Like, this is one of the best guys in the world. You're comparing somebody who's never been to the Olympia. I'd rather compare a guy like James and Charles, guys who have been to the Olympia before, to a guy like Nick, at least, to have a more realistic comparison. And I'll say one thing. Joe's a good bodybuilder. Nobody's saying he's not. He has muscle. He has the tools to be a good bodybuilder, but there are levels to this. And we say it all the time. There's guys, who have different tool sets to use to showcase their strengths on stage. And I was a bit disappointed because it wasn't, in my opinion, a Joe that represented what he looked like last year. Joe looked great last year. Those, in my opinion, were much better looks. And I don't want to so much harp on the fact that Joe, because I honestly, wholeheartedly believe Joe just got roped into the talk. I think he's probably a good human being. I think he actually has good intentions. But, sometimes when you're new and fresh in the sport, you say the wrong things at the wrong time. And in my opinion, he just took it a little bit too far and just ran with it without reflecting and being like, am I saying anything out of pocket? Am I saying anything that's kind of like, a little bit over the edge here? And I personally don't hold any grudges, man. I wish all these guys the best of the luck. I hope they all qualify for the Olympia one day. I hope they all crush it in their careers. My thing is, though, if you're going against my guys, I'm going to bat for my guys, and that's one of those things. I don't care who you are. It's my guys versus your guys at the end of the day. If you're going to talk negatively about them, you're probably talking about me too then.
And just to let you guys know the kind of human that Nick is, just so everyone knows, Nick actually approached Joe backstage and shook his hand and spoke to him after the show. So, Nick didn't have to do that. And Nick has been quiet these last 8 weeks, hasn't said a thing, has probably had many opportunities to say something or jump on a podcast. I'm telling you guys right now, Nick has been invited to every podcast just the same. And he'd rather just stay quiet, stay in his lane. Same with Rob. He's turning down podcast requests all the time. And that's just not kind of like the standard that they, uphold. It's like, we don't need to jump on and say anything. Like, we'll let the results at Tampa speak for themselves. And, they did that. And it was really cool to see.
I feel like the main objective, right, and Nick could speak on this as well, was we didn't want to just come to Tampa to win. Nick is, a favorite going into that show, with the career he's had, with the accolades he's achieved, with the resume he's built. But the main thing for us was, let's go to Tampa and put your name in the hat for the Olympia. Let's present something that is your best ever. Therefore, we are now putting ourselves in a pole position to compete for the Sandow, and that is the only objective on hand. So like I say all the time, man, talk is cheap. We don't need to go back and forth on social media with anybody. At the end of the day, you could talk about stuff. You could be confident in yourself. Every bodybuilder should be that because they've all gotten here for that reason. I think the main thing is just understanding. Sometimes you say things. Sometimes you accidentally fire guys up. I'm sure we were already fired up. I was pumped for the show. That little extra bit gives you a little bit of extra fire and to use, to be like, we're going to go ahead and make sure this is a statement, And one thing about Nick was, he looked like a consummate professional up there, pose by pose. It was, I'm not letting you beat me anywhere. Not in a pose, not in transitions, not in posing, nothing. I'm not giving you even an inch here. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, Nick showcased something to himself, to the judges of being, I am complete. I have all the muscle in the world. I have no weak points. And I'll see you guys in 8 weeks.
100%.
Yeah, and you're right. Like I did get asked to go on every podcast, and I denied them all because I knew what it was. It was just nothing but clickbait and to stir shit. If I want to stir shit, I'm going to stir it on my own platform. You're not going to stir shit for me. I don't need to go on your platform to stir shit. If I want to stir it, I'm going to stir it myself, and that's that. And I didn't need to do that. I didn't want to do that this time around. He did that for me. So now this was my turn to stay quiet and then do exactly what I did, which was embarrass everybody on stage. And that's what I did.
And all these guys, at the end of the day, when I look at bodybuilding is, even like it's so cool because these guys have the camaraderie backstage. They all talk to each other,
Oh, of course.
like James is so gracious back there, like so happy. He's talking about like the things outside of bodybuilding, and that's why I'm so happy that we started this platform. This is the first time we talked about bodybuilding because I feel like we finally veer off into a different category where we don't have to battle into the negative stuff, talk to smack back and forth. Because if we really wanted to, we've done 5 or 6 episodes. We could have dropped something new and given a new, take every single week of this is how we feel about this situation. This was said, and now we're responding. But it's like then you play the game of cat and mouse, and it's one of those things of I always say it all on. This is what I say to all my athletes and anybody. Those lights don't lie, man. When you get in front of those hot lights and those lights are shining on 6 guys that in the first call out, you're gonna get exposed. There's no hiding. There's no running away at that point. There's no more going back to social media. There's no going back to updates. The judges are evaluating what is stepped on that stage on that given day, and that's what happened. In my opinion, Nick had posted updates all the way going into the show, and something still showed up that looked different than those updates. That was very improved, and that was always the goal. Have fun with it, enjoy this sport again, find that love, that passion, that ability to really want to do this at a high level, and to do it with the right people at the right time on your own terms.
That's another thing too, Nick. I mean, you were telling us a little bit that this is the happiest that you felt, competing. This is the most confident that you felt. And I've actually talked to Prab about this. Even if he wasn't coaching you, even if we didn't know you to that level, like just as a fan of the sport, like we love to see Nick Walker bring his best and have fun on stage. We love that for James. We love that for Charles, all of them. But for you specifically, because of how much shit you get, whether you leave a coach or maybe you don't have the best showing or whatever it is, how much everything you do is analyzed and nitpicked. It's really, really refreshing to see you be able to get on stage, have fun, bring an all-time best look, and just like enjoy competing again without, worrying about what these outlets are saying or what this podcast is saying or what this competitor is saying. You just blocked all of it out and you had fun, and it's really honestly cool to see, bro. I'm happy for you.
Yeah, well, obviously I give credit to Prob for that, and you too, because when he came to my house, I mean, the confident level that I had was like iffy. It was there, but it wasn't. It was there, it wasn't. And every day we were just together, I just felt more and more confident. And the things we would just talk about that was non-bodybuilding related, the things we would just do and chill, and hang out. It just started to become fun, and I blocked majority of every news reporting outlet possible because I don't care to see what they have to say about me. I don't want to know what they said about me. And within doing that, going on Instagram, I never saw anything. So I didn't even care to post anymore. I didn't care to post this. I didn't care to post that because the reality is, and it's like Prob just said, I'm always going to look different on stage no matter what I post. So who cares? Just have fun. And that resonated a lot. And I just took that wholeheartedly. And this was the most fun I ever had. And it's like I said in, one of my posts, it's been a long time because I felt like I've actually been a part of a real team again. And I can wholeheartedly say I truly felt that this week. And I think that's another reason why I was able to have so much fun as I did.
And that was the coolest
Well,
thing for me is hearing that when people are walking up to you after the show, wow, you look so confident. You look so calm, And this is not to throw shade at anybody at the show. Everybody else was sweating. They just were. And you were on the sidelines just, you're looking at it, messing with your fingers a little bit, making sure your abs are still in place, flexing the chest, being like, okay, it's still here, the pump's still there. And it's like you were
fixing his
so
glasses.
calm. Yeah,
Yep.
your demeanor was so calm on stage of like you came to dominate and win. But at the same time, you were like very much so in your element. At one point, shit, they tried to switch you to the middle and you didn't even hear them because you were so locked into your front relax of like just being a statue. So it's one of those things of you could tell that you were just in that zone, and when you're on and you're on, that zone is easy to find. Even like
Yeah.
I had walked up to Nick after, the prejudging. He went out for his individual comparisons, and I had showed him a couple of shots, and he was like, "Am I on?" And I was like, "Oh no, you're beyond on. Like you just shook the building. Like it's one of those things, and that's the coolest thing for me because I've never had that experience as a coach to see like when he walked out, like the reception, the whole building. It was a packed house, and these people went absolutely bananas.
Well, I mean, Prob, you coach a ton of athletes. Nick, you've been in the game a long time, and you guys know. I mean, I'd be willing to argue. I think a bodybuilder's mindset and his mentality and his mental health is the most important thing. Like you could have all the tools, but if your head is not right, it's going to be very hard for you to nail it. And make those improvements every single year. So I really don't think people realize how dangerous this new Nick is. And that's not even trying to glaze you, Nick, or anything. It's you have an athlete with Nick's level of genetics. He has all the tools. He lives in a box. He has the work ethic, but now he actually believes up here. He has the belief in his coach and the team around him. And that makes him dangerous.
Another thing that people don't realize is Nick is a very intelligent human being. Like Nick is very in tune with his body. I took a lot of feedback from Nick on, people had said this before the show. Nick had done great at the Arnold himself. Why would they completely switch the approach? Nobody said we were going to completely switch the approach. I'm not a coach who's just going to be like, you just look great. Scratch it, throw it in the trash can. No, I'm never going to do that. I thought he looked great at the Arnold as well. The first thing I told Nick when he got off stage at the Arnold Classic was very simple. This is what I told him. I said, I think you look great. I think there's small room for refinement and a little bit of different of peaking methodology and strategy that we can bring something better. We're not trying to completely recreate the look. We know where we need to improve. And within the peak, I know we can improve in these areas. And Nick gave me a lot of feedback going into the show. Nick was peaked differently than all my athletes, from a perspective of he actually looks better in certain scenarios, which he had told me before the peak week started. So me being able to relay that information, take it from him, be like, I trust this guy. He's done this at a high level. Nick would give me feedback on this isn't really digesting the best, bro. Don't want to use that. No worries, bro. Throw it in the trash. Let's add this in. Then you start to change, manipulate, shift things. Okay, cool. You start to understand what the athlete specifically needs that works for him. But because he's so in tune with his body, this is a collaborative effort. This isn't a me telling Nick, hey, bro, this is what you're eating, go do it. Hey, this is what you're doing, go do it. No, not at all. This is Nick giving me biofeedback, Nick giving me the ability to coach at the highest level with him telling me how he feels. Because I'm not living inside of Nick's body. Only Nick is.
Yeah, and that was the cool thing is Prob was very receptive to anything I had to say, and not many coaches are like that. I feel like you said, I think it's more. I think a lot of coaches nowadays are like, "This is what it is. Just go do it." And him, and I think he understands. Like you said, I'm very in tune with my body. I'm a high level athlete. I've been doing this forever, so he knows. He knows I'm not just saying shit to say shit. Like there's a meaning to it.
Of
So
course.
he takes the feedback, makes a small change, and we're golden. We're on to the next thing.
And we had so much data collected, man. That's why I just kept my mouth
Now we
shut.
do for sure.
And we even have more now that we've actually done a peak together. But like, there was times in this prep where it's like, eat this amount of food, have it for 2 days in a row. Let's see what you look like after that second day. Okay, cool. This is your best look here, And when you have that much, and that's when people will ask, like, oh, do you feel any pressure? No, I've seen his body in so many different states, flat, full, this much food in. How does the midsection look the next day? How does this look? What muscles get full the fastest? What doesn't get full? Okay, what's last to fill out? What's the first to get flat? Then you start to play those games of that tipping balance. You push down, a little bit too flat. Let's pull back up. And then you start to, formulate thoughts and opinions of how do we get him to his best physique within the given timeline we have and present something special on stage. And in my opinion, you could only do that when you're very precise, calculated, methodical. And that's why there's never any pressure because it's like, in my opinion, the best coaches in the world are the coaches who could fix shit when things go wrong. If everything's going great, it's easy. Oh, okay, but put it on stage. You don't got to make any adjustments. He's going to go on stage anyways. When things go left, how do you get them to steer back to the right and, you fall back in the middle ground? And those are the best coaches who can make decisions on the fly, calculated decisions on, okay, this is happening. How do we mitigate this? Those are important tools.
I mean, yeah, bro. Overall, the whole week, getting to watch you two guys do your thing, like very, very special to say the least. And I've actually never seen Nick compete in person, and just being there, I mean, I got chills, bro. Like I remember walking backstage after that individual Prop was talking about, and I was shaking. I don't know if that's from how loud the crowd was or how invested I was into the process as well, but I was like on the edge of my seat. And, obviously I've been a fan of Nick for a long time, and to see him come out and have that reception, it was just special, man. Like you had to be there. And I don't even think it translated to the live stream. I mean, he looked amazing on the live stream, but it's a different level in person, the level of detail, the skin texture, the overall muscularity, the stage presence. I mean, it's just special, man. And I'm really excited to see, what you guys cook up for the Olympia. I know there's already a plan in place, and I don't know, how much you want to divulge into what your guys' plan is for the Olympia. Where would you like to see what margins you guys could potentially improve on? But it's going to be very special.
And like I said, I'm not going to really dive into what we're doing or anything like that because we don't need to talk about X's and O's. But I'll tell you one thing for sure. Nick will be improved at the Olympia. I'm 100% confident of that. Nick will be a better version of, that Tampa Pro Nick Walker at the Olympia time. And then from there, you let the judges make a decision. That's all you could do. I'm going to sit back on my seat, and that's the most nerve-wracking time for me. Like me and Nick had talked about this. He had asked me, do you feel any pressure? And I'm like, no, I feel fine up until, when I see him backstage and I run out to my seat and you're sitting there and you're like, well, he's about to walk out. Hey, whatever's on the stage is on the stage now, right? And I know what it's going to look like based on, we took check-ins in this garage. It looked phenomenal the night before. It's like, oh, I know he's going to be on. But at the same time, it's like, well, those lights are a little bit different when you stand on that stage, and it's one of those things as a coach where you lose all control. You relinquish all control. I've controlled every variable up until the point of that, 1 p.m. hits, and it's like, well, can't control anything now. But that's where Nick's a, consummate professional, and he goes on stage. He nails his posing. He does his job, and he has fun doing it. And it's like, it's cool for me to see, like, little things that people don't realize. And the little thing I'm talking about is, like, at the last call, they're calling for most muscular. The first guy who starts walking towards the judges is Nick. And the other competitors who aren't equally as seasoned, they go, he's walking up, so I'm walking right with him. It's cool to see somebody command the stage and take control of that moment and be like, this is my time. This is my moment. And I had said this, people will be like, but Tampa didn't have a lot of pressure, right? Nick was supposed to win. But that's one of those things. Does that mean there was even more pressure? Because if it was like Nick made that margin big to show people it's a perfect score, it wasn't close. Like, I'm going to go ahead and do my thing and show up and do my job. But if it was close, everybody would have been talking about that. Oh, it was this shot. It was close, whatever the case may be. So it was very important for us to put out a dominant display.
100%.
And I'm willing to say Nick had a whole lot more pressure than even someone like Joe, because someone like Joe, he's playing with house money. Like if he beats Nick, that's like flips the bodybuilding world upside down. But if he loses, it's like, hey, man, he stood toe-to-toe with the top 5 Olympian, one of the best in the world. Like, he still gets the credit. Nick, he comes in slightly off, or maybe Joe takes a couple shots off him, whatever it may be. Even if he still wins, he's still going to get negatively criticized. So being able to do what you guys did, slam the door shut completely, like just completely like get rid of any doubt that anyone might have had, it's fucking sick, bro.
And also from our point of view, 8 weeks is the target. Like I said, I don't want to harp too much on Tampa Pro. I think it was a phenomenal Nick Walker. I thought he looked at his best ever, in my opinion. But I know there's more tools in the toolbox. We haven't fully expended all our tools yet. Like there's, you go to show number 1 and
we use baby toys.
Yeah, we use baby toys for this one. Yeah, we use water guns. Is what I'll describe it as. I know there's a lot of tools, and that's what makes me excited, and that's why I'm so confident going into the big dance that this is going to improve by a fine margin here. And it's going to be the same thing, assess it daily. Me and Nick have checked in every single day from the moment he asked me to take control of the wheel. Every single day. Did we need to? Probably not. Do I care? Nah. Send them every day. You might not have a change, but it might be a, hey, bro, keep it pushing. One of those things, because at the end of the day, at that level, I'm enjoying it, man. I'm having fun with it. I like doing those check-ins daily. And a lot of my athletes can attest to that. I do it with a lot of people. At a certain point out of the show, it's like, we got to ensure we have everything covered. How much fluid do you shift overnight? All these little things that people miss out on. So from my point of view, it's like, we're going to continue to just do our thing and run our own race. We're not worried about what people are saying. We're not getting too high. We're honestly not getting too low. Stay in the middle ground. Just, continue to coast and do our thing. Like, don't, get highs with the highs. Don't get too low with the lows. Like, stay in the midline, ride the midline. In my opinion, when I look at this weekend, we did our job. That's the way it was supposed to happen. That's the way it was supposed to shake up. So we did our job. We shake hands. We celebrate it. You guys ate a shit ton at Cheesecake Factory. And guess
Sure
what?
did.
Now it's back to work.
Sure did.
Yeah,
Nick,
if you guys want to kind of divulge on that, on like, you guys' little eating challenge and all that good stuff, I feel like this is our segue where we could kind of cut the bodybuilding talk out. One thing I will say is, for all these guys doing Atlanta, I hope they all bring their best ever. I hope they all look phenomenal on stage because there's only one spot to get over there. It's going to be a good show. I don't want to get into predictions or any of that stuff. I'm not doing that. That's not our channel, whatever the case may be. But, overall, I think this is more of a tighter race now next week, where these guys can actually, we don't know technically who the winner is going to be.
I think Atlanta's going to be a great show, so I'm excited for it.
So everybody should buy the live stream, tune in, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'll be watching. I'll be sitting on my couch
Same.
watching that thing.
yeah, and
Okay.
whoever wins Atlanta, I mean, they'll be at the Olympia, but then there's Texas Pro, and that's going to be just the same. It's probably going to be the same guys doing Texas, so that'll be just as good as well.
100%.
Nick, as far as aside from winning the show, obviously, like what was kind of like the highlight of the week for you, or the highlight of the weekend? Because it's definitely a cool weekend to look back on, because we had so many fun moments, and it was honestly just a chill vibe the whole entire week, and I think it was just really fun overall. Like, what was the highlight for you aside
Before
from winning?
Nick says his highlight, my highlight was his dad yelling, standing up. What did he yell?
Lights out.
Lights
Lights
out.
out, Nick.
Lights out, Nick. And then Nick said that was a new one. So that was cool for me seeing his. That's what made me happiest. Like, I'm happy that everybody on social media saw it, but seeing his parents fired up, like, wow, that's a good Nick Walker. Like, that meant a lot to me.
That was fucking dope. Honestly, though, like, I don't think I can, like, pinpoint one highlight because, again, like I said, this process has allowed me to feel like a team again, right? So there was just so many, like all the cook fest we had on each other, all the little serious talk we would have with one another, you know, the Cheesecake Factory dinner where everybody's just phones are down and we're all just living in the moment and having fun and eating our faces off and laughing and like I just can't pinpoint one. It was the whole week was just a fucking blast.
Hmm. That was the thing. Like, I've probably gotten like 10 to 15 DMs like, please tell me you filmed that cheesecake meal. Please tell me you guys got it for the YouTube. And I
Yeah,
was like,
nah,
bro,
dog, we're in the moment.
yeah, I was like, bro, nobody had their phone out. Like, you don't understand. We were there for 3 hours eating, and nobody was on their phone. Nick wasn't reading no comments or trying to make a post.
Nah.
We weren't, posting our food on our story. Like,
I
everyone
was the
was
only one on
truly
my
in the
phone,
moment.
but
We
I
were
got
working,
permission.
it doesn't count.
You were
But
working, dog.
it was all fun. Like we're all just laughing. My parents with Prob's parents laughing, having a good time. Like those are the memories for me that'll last forever. Winning,
Mm.
100%.
obviously we came there to win, but
Of course.
winning's a bonus to the
Of course.
memories that are being made.
100%.
Yeah, bro. It's All right, but let's get down to business, Nick, because everyone probably wants to know who ate more, who won. All right, guys, this is not a cop out, I promise. Nick and I both agreed it was a tie. It was a tie because we probably would have both eaten ourselves sick, and neither of us were going to stop. And
that was the thing, right? Like, we definitely could have kept going, but I think we both hit a point where it was like,
I'm
let's
gonna
just
give
end it here, dog.
I'm gonna give the true synopsis of the situation. So
all right,
technically,
unbiased.
Nick actually ate more. I was thinking about this in hindsight because
Well,
Nick
because of all
obviously
the
ate.
cookies I ate,
I was gonna
yeah.
say, yeah, Nick ate the cookies after the show, all that good stuff.
The carb up.
Yep. Well, not even just that, right? Because you're always hungry post show. Nick technically ate more post show, but at Cheesecake, Andy had a little bit more left in the tank. So he would have made up that ground that Nick had, right after the show during Cheesecake if he needed to. So it technically was a tie because, they ate a lot. I mean, like the appetizers, those double orders of everything, multiple pieces of cheesecake, full entrees. Andy's eating other people's food. Andy's going to people's tables asking for their bread. Hey, yo, let me get that bread. So it was one of those things of, I would call it a tie, but honestly, like I said, for both of you guys can eat a lot. Like you guys are just able to eat a lot. And the cool thing about it is, this is what I want everybody to understand. Guys, these guys baselined in a day. The rate already comes down. It's going to come down as long as you don't do this trend continuously. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not advocating for eating a shit ton post show. If you want to, do it. If you get back on your fluids, if you get back on your diet after that, if you get back on your cardio, that weight's going to fall off within 2 to 3 days easily. Every single one of my athletes have done it, and I've gotten their weight up. But you do it 5 days in a row, you might put yourself in a sticky situation.
Very true.
I'd say that was probably the funnest I've had, aside from just eating food, because I love food. I'm sitting across the table from Nick, and Nick goes to the waiter. We gave this waiter hell, by the way. This guy was like, bro, I'm about to quit this shit, bro. He comes up and Nick's like, all right, I'm going to get my Coke Zero, no lime, water, no lime, and extra ice in both of them. The guy's like writing this shit down. He's like, all right, and I'm going to need bread. And can you bring extra brown bread? So I'm like, okay, Nick didn't come to play. By the time the fool brings us the bread, like within 2 minutes, 3 cartons are gone. Me and Nick are just like ripping a piece in half. I give it to him. He rips a piece in half, gives it to him. We're just going nonstop. The guy comes back. He's like, okay, can I get a refill? And Nick's like, more bread. Cool. Brings the bread. And then Nick, we're looking down the table at Nick and Prop's parents, and they have like, a couple pieces of bread on their side. And Nick's like, hey, you guys done? Push that shit over here. So finished all the bread. Appetizers, just for the Instagram reel. I'll lay it out, Nick. We're like, what are we going to do? All right, we're going to get the mac and cheese balls, the buffalo blast, the pretzel bites, the avocado egg rolls. Yeah. Kill that shit in 2 seconds.
In the comments, before Andy keeps going, tell us what your favorite appetizer is from Cheesecake, because I am genuinely curious to know. Because I tried a couple different ones this time. There's some sleepers.
I think Buffalo Blast is one of my favorites.
I agree.
That was my first time, and it was really good.
Those are goated.
It's time for the entrees, right? Nick's like, go ahead, you go first. I'm thinking, okay, bro, all right. I'm going to get that bacon burger with 2 orders of fries. He looks at the waiter. He's like, make that a double. so we ordered the same entree. Everyone else, like, they were pretty much full at this point. Nick, I actually give him credit, finished his burger before me. And like, I can't even tell you last time someone finished their meal before me, but regardless, we both finished. And the guy's like, okay, we're going to get some desserts. And me and Nick already had this mapped out for the last 2 months. I'm like, all right, bro, write this shit down. We're going to get the new cheesecake, which is like the chocolate brownie crunch.
Yeah.
We're going to get the red velvet. We're going to get the Linda's fudge cake. We're going to get the Adam's peanut butter fudge ripple. And Nick's like, and I'm going to get an Oreo for my mom. She probably won't finish it. So then we'll have hers too. And me and Nick we put one cheesecake in the middle, 2 forks, just doom, 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 gone. Next one. And then I knew it was getting close because on that Linda's fudge cake, it was like the final one. Nick looks at me from across the table, holding his stomach. He goes, Hey, dog, don't lie. You're pretty cooked because I'm cooked.
Thanks, bro.
And I feel like you guys were good up until the cheesecake came, and then that kind of hit a
If we
block
would have
because that
just kept eating
sugar,
like all the appetizers and more, we probably could have kept going for a very long time.
100%.
Yeah, all the sugar, bro, the dense cheesecakes. We're like, and then Prob looks at us. He's sitting there watching all this happen. He's like, you know what? I think you guys should just stop because I don't think either of you guys are going to stop, and I don't want y'all to get sick. So let's just go ahead and call it. You guys are good. Nothing left to prove. And if you guys haven't wished Nick a happy birthday, his birthday was yesterday.
Yeah.
And apparently they knew he won the show or they knew it was his birthday. So we had already said, all right, this is a tie. We're done. This waiter brings Nick like a little cupcake ice cream thing with the candle on it. And I'm thinking, we're good. Like, it's a tie. Sing happy birthday. And then I see Nick start eating it. I'm like, hell no, dog. You're not going to tell me you ate more. So then me and him shared that one as well. And then that was it.
That was a small cup, so it was all good.
All in all, too, great weekend. I mean, outside of the showing and stuff like that, it was just a fun time. You know, even like the little memories are what make it. You know, from tanning Nick to shaving, and then from there, you know, like you build bonds with people over a course of time. Even just seeing his parents at the Airbnb, you know, like I was so excited sitting there, and like his parents hadn't seen any updates other than what's been on Instagram, and like it was like a surprise for them when he went on stage. Of like, you know, because it is nerve wracking as a parent when you're watching. Like, what does he look like? How is he going to look going into the show? Like, is he going to look good? Well, I haven't seen him. You know, it's one of those things of, okay, cool. Like, we were putting full trust in this guy, and you know, like Nick's mom wrote me a sweet message on Instagram today of made like a post about me or whatever, you know, and like that's the little stuff is what people miss out on. They miss out on the journey, right? Like people look at start point, end result. They miss out on those everything that happened between the lines in those 12 weeks of communicating every day, building a relationship, you know, becoming friends. And, you know, we were friends before coaching him, after coaching him. If Nick had genuinely told me, like, hey, bro, to be honest, I don't want to put the pressure on you. We never have to announce, you know, you're coaching me. I wouldn't have cared. Like for me, it didn't matter. Like, and I, you know, I heard a lot of, you know, the news outlets like, wow, he's going to get so much business and all this stuff. And I'm sure it would have happened. But like before I had even signed on Nick, you know, I was in a really, really good spot. And not saying, you know, Nick hasn't helped me tremendously. Nick has done plenty for me. But I care more about Nick Walker, the human being, than making him some business asset of like, wow, I'm going to, you know, do this or get this many leads or whatever the case may be. It's like, but I'm trying to have fun. I'm trying to bodybuild. I'm trying to coach at the highest level, you know. And Nick for giving me the opportunity, I thank Nick, you know, because as a coach, you might not get that in your whole career. You know, it's one of those things you might. How often can you say I got a guy who was top 5 in the world in my career? Not many coaches could even say that.
Top 5 guy in his prime. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like this weekend proved that, you know, if you want to be a good bodybuilder, really pay attention to the company that you keep. You know, really keep that circle small. Your family, your friends, the coach, like don't have too many cooks in the kitchen, you know, make sure the people you're spending time with actually care about you as the human, not, you know, Nick, the competitor, Nick, the Olympian, Nick, you know, the most popular guy in the league. Like we're actually all there. Like if Nick retired tomorrow, we'd be like, hey, bro, you can still come kick it with us. Like we're still boys. Like all that shit comes second, you know. And I think the company you keep and the people you surround yourself with is arguably the most important thing in bodybuilding because, you know,
100%. Because one day this is all going to be gone. And one day we're all going to, you know, one day you're going to stop competing. Nick's going to stop competing. One day, you know, maybe I'll stop coaching. Probably won't happen, but maybe somebody will be able to pull me off the wagon. But it's one of those things, right? Like, that's why I just try to now embrace it all, you know, have fun with it, like genuinely have true fun with it because, you know, we don't know when, you know, the day is going to come where it's like, you know, I don't really want to do this no more, you know, for an athlete, you know, that might come at some point. So from my point of view, it's one of those things of enjoy every moment, enjoy the little moments as well. And that's one thing I did this weekend that I'm actually happy I did. You know, I did
Yo, you good?
We lost you, bud.
I see his camera, but
I can't hear you. Oh, we
he'll
lost.
reach. He'll probably just close it and then rejoin again. But man, that shit. I will say it does feel good to get back to baseline though, because the last 2 days, bro, I seen the heavyweight bars in the fridge and all the cookies, and I'm like looking at that shit, and I'm just
I
like,
know.
hell nah, bro, I'm cooked.
I'm still dropping down the baseline. I lost 5 pounds, but we're almost there.
Oh, yeah, there we go. But like we talked about, that shit was worth it, bro. Like I would do that
Oh,
shit
I
over
wouldn't.
again.
If somebody was to ask and say, "Would you change anything about the last week?" I would say absolutely not.
Mm-mm.
There isn't a single thing I would change.
I'd probably order a fifth slice of cheesecake, though. I will say.
Nope, I was cooked. I'll be honest. I would have ate it with you, but I would have been like, "Fuck you, dude. I am cooked."
Oh, yeah. Fuck you. I'm cooking. I'm up 15.
I said, "I'm not. I can't let you win, but I'm gonna fucking eat this with you."
Cheesecake, though. I will say.
Nope, I was cooked. I'll be honest. I would have ate it with you, but I would have been like, "Fuck you, dude. I am cooked."
Oh, yeah. Fuck you. I'm cooking. I'm up 15.
I said, "I'm not. I can't let you win, but I'm gonna fucking eat this with you."
He's on this one.
I know. It's
But it
all
made
good.
sense on this one because I got a phone call and I'm like hanging up and I'm like, stop calling. I'm on do not disturb for a reason. There's a
Uh,
reason I'm on do not disturb. And it's like, but one of those things, like I was saying, right? It's like it's one of those things of like, even when I was proud of myself this weekend of like taking a step back, taking some time off of work. I still got all my work done. I still responded to every client. I still did all my check-ins, but I was doing it in the proper fashion of like, I'm going to do it when Nick goes to sleep. I'm going to do it when, I have a little bit of time in between because I didn't want any of those things to mess with, my peak or helping this athlete because at the end of the day, I always say it all the time. In my opinion, for my team, it's next man up. It's as simple as that. Who's next up to bat? Get on the batter's plate. You're the priority, bro. Let's roll. It's one of those things of whoever's next up, I'm going to prioritize them, but I will make sure everybody else is still taken care of.
And that's one thing I actually told Prob last night, Nick, on the flight home. I was like, bro, like Nick set the tone for the rest of the season for everyone on the roster, including myself. Like, I was already super hyped to compete here in a couple of weeks, and I'm like, see, Nick, bro, like that's the bar now for myself. And like I'm holding myself to that standard. Like I want to have a showing equally as dominant, If I'm able, I don't know if I'm capable of doing that, but I'm going to do my damnedest to make sure I'm in the best position to do so. And
absolutely.
it's honestly just inspiring to see an athlete. Like I consider myself high level, meticulous, locked in all year, and then I'm around someone like you for the week, and I'm like, there's still another level to go, and it's cool, bro. It's really cool and inspiring to see.
I appreciate that wholeheartedly.
And you're still out there in Tampa, and I could tell where Prop's sitting. He's sitting in that little patio, probably getting cooked by that humidity.
Yep, he's outside in the patio. I'm on a couch chilling like a villain.
But
And
yeah, man.
I gotta go ahead, Prop.
But yeah, man, like I said, overall, a great week, a great opportunity to showcase, a version of Nick that, I'm very proud to showcase, and I'm sure Nick's very proud to represent for himself.
Absolutely.
But the main thing is, job's not finished. There's
8
work to
weeks.
there's a job to do at the end of the day, and this was step one, and now you go to the second target and you make sure you knock that one out of the park too, and we'll do everything in our power to ensure that it is the best version of Nick come time for the big dance.
Nick, overall, bro, just as a friend, like I mentioned earlier, I'm honestly just really happy for you. I know firsthand, how hard bodybuilding is and, how mentally challenging it is, especially when, you're not having fun. To see you have fun again, to, feel like you found a team that, believes in you and have a coach that believes in you and a coach that you trust. it makes it so much more fun, bro. And honestly, this week as a whole, it gave me reassurance as to why I love bodybuilding so much, like why I love it the way I do, between getting to see you do your thing, getting to see Prob do his thing, spending all this time with one another, watching movies, shooting the shit, roasting one another, eating good food. It's like this whole week was just bodybuilding, plain and
Seeing
simple. And
you
it
on the
was
other
like,
side of the coin of not competing and just being a teammate, it's cool in totality of everything. It's one of those things, and that's one thing. Another thing I could say about the team is everybody's very selfless. They understand when it's their time, and they understand when it's not. Like this weekend, you took a step back. It's usually you're the one who's competing and getting ready for the show. Where we're tanning you, and this weekend it was like you're like, whatever I got to do for the team, I'm in. Whether that means I got to tan, whether that means I got to shave, whether that means I got to make a meal. It's like I'm gonna go ahead and give you your flowers as well. It's like prejudging ends, and you're already in your car texting me like, "Yo, what's his meal? I know he needs one on hand. Well, what you got in meeting for the next one?" Boom. 5 minutes later, you're back at the venue. We get that meal in between prejudging and finals. It's those little things, and I always joke with people. I'm like, you need soldiers, is the way I described it. You need soldiers who are willing to just put in a shift. People who are willing to be like, it's not my time today. So guess what? Whatever's asked of me, we're going to go get it done.
yeah, bro, just being able to take a back seat and just be like, you know what? I'm not the priority this week. And I'm okay with that because I want to see Prob do good. I want to see Nick do good. So however I can be an asset to you guys, whatever that, even if it just means staying out of Nick's way, staying out the kitchen, making life easier for Nick, making, the peak easier for Prob, whatever it may be. It was honestly really cool to not be the guy this week and to just be, how can I help you guys? How can I make this shit easier? And it was really cool, man. Honestly, though, I really, really hope, and I know the respect is already there, but I hope people recognize, Prob for what he's done this year, last year, so much doubt going into the show that I know he doesn't pay attention to, but like, who is this new guy? He's never done it with an open guy. And I just hope like people see Prob and maybe people will start leaning towards having an open mind about maybe he isn't the biggest name coach, or maybe not even Prob, just anyone else. People can work their way up the ranks, and just because you don't have 10 Olympia titles under your belt doesn't mean you're not worthy of coaching a high level athlete. And I think it's time we start giving coaches the benefit of the doubt instead of just like, well, what has this guy done, kind of thing. And I'm just happy that you proved that. And Nick, I'm happy you guys just silenced all the noise this weekend.
Good damn thing, bro.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to end it, boys. It's been about a 55-minute podcast. I wanted to say, first and foremost, great show by Tim, great production. Nick took pictures with all the fans after the show, which was awesome to see. Made sure nobody got missed, pushed back whatever he had to do to ensure that they all got pictures and got taken care of and got what they needed out of that moment, which is cool to see. But yeah, the main thing is continue to just be yourself, Nick. Same thing with Andy. Just keep being yourself, and that's for all of us. Just stay true to yourself. And anybody watching this, even if you do have self-doubt, even if you do have those things, keep pushing forward, one foot in front of the other. There's always going to be another day. It's one of those things of, the next day the sun's going to come out and back to work. It's one of those things of keep believing, stay true to yourself, and then from there, see where the chips may fall.
100%. Well, I'm going to end it, but boys, you already know the drill. Make sure you stay on for a minute, please.
Okay.
Like,
but guys,
comment,
much love, honestly.
subscribe.
Yeah, comment. We appreciate all the support. We got a ton of people at Tampa talk about they love the podcast. They watch every episode. They love the food. And Prob actually has gotten messages saying, I love that it's not bodybuilding. Like Prob pointed out, like most competitors, all they watch, everything they watch, every podcast is just like wrap-ups, predictions, whatever, assessments. Ours is just literally, hey, Netflix, movies, food, binging, whatever it may be. And it's honestly, I think it's refreshing for a lot of people. So honestly, I'm happy that, this is kind of the podcast that we're doing.
We're also going to branch off into different topics, guys. Now that we've got a couple episodes under our belt, we won't tell you what we're going to branch off into, but we will be branching off into more topics. They won't be bodybuilding related, but they'll be entertaining and they'll be good enjoyment.
Fuck yeah.
Nick,
All right,
congrats
boys.
again, bro. Prob, congrats to you, bro. Tampa Pro 2026 champ.
Yes, sir.